Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to, well, plunge into different sources and pull out those really powerful, practical insights for you. Today, we're embarking on a bit of a journey. We're going into ancient wisdom. Specifically, we're looking at excerpts from the Dhammapada Explained, timeless Buddhist wisdom for inner peace. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is simple. Extract the most profound, the truly timeless insights from this incredible text. Ideas that can actually resonate and, impact your everyday life. So look, whether you're maybe navigating a spiritual path, or you're just curious, or maybe you're just searching for a powerful guidebook, really, to help steer through modern life, get ready. There's some deeply transformative wisdom here.
Yeah, and this really isn't just any ancient text. It's pretty foundational in Buddhist thought. The Dhammapada, it's a collection of these core verses, revered, actually, for its ability to distill some incredibly profound truths, but into accessible, memorable lines. Its significance, why it endures, lies in that timeless guidance it offers on cultivating inner peace and clarity, compassion, too. What was really striking is how those core human needs, those challenges, they remain just, utterly constant. Doesn't matter the era or the culture we're in.
Okay, so for those of us maybe less familiar, let's unpack that. What exactly is the Dhammapada, and what makes it such a foundational text within Buddhism?
Well, at its heart, it's a collection, 423 verses, widely attributed actually to the Buddha himself. It originated in the ancient Pali language, and it holds this very specific, very revered place within the Buddhist scriptures. It's part of what's called the Khuddaka Nikaya, which itself is a section of the Pali Canon. And the Pali Canon, just for context, that's one of the oldest, most comprehensive records we have of the Buddhist teachings.
Wow.
But what makes it so impactful isn't just that it's old, it's how incredibly accessible it is. These aren't, dense philosophical arguments. They're concise verses, often quite poetic. They get straight to the heart of these universal human experiences. And that poetic feel, it makes them really memorable, almost like spiritual mantras you can carry with you day to day.
That's fascinating. And what strikes me is how you don't necessarily need to be Buddhist, right? Or follow any specific spiritual path to find real value here. Sounds like the wisdom kind of transcends religious lines.
Exactly right. Its wisdom genuinely goes beyond any single religion because it tackles these fundamental things, aspects of just being human. How we handle anger, the nature of our desires, why mindfulness matters, the huge impact of compassion. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're the actual fabric of our daily struggles, our hopes. And that's why the Dhammapada is still so profoundly relevant for anyone, really, seeking a more peaceful, more purposeful life.
All right, so now that we've got a clearer picture of what the Dhammapada is, let's get to the core of its power. Those timeless teachings that just seem to leap off the page. This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, the text is just packed with profound ideas, but there are some core concepts that really stand out, especially because they challenge our modern ideas about happiness, about control. Take, for example, the power of the mind. There's this incredibly powerful, maybe even radical quote from the Dhammapada. It says, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world."
Wow, that's a heavy statement, almost unsettling. Could you elaborate a bit?
Right.
How do our thoughts directly sculpt our reality? It sounds almost too simple, yet profoundly challenging, especially when, we often feel like victims of circumstance.
That's precisely the radical insight, isn't it? The Dhammapada isn't just saying think positive, although sure, that's part of it. It's really asserting that our internal landscape, our mental state, that is the ultimate creator of our experience. Think about it. The exact same event can be seen as a total catastrophe by one person or a valuable lesson by another. And the only difference, how we frame it internally.
Right.
So if you cultivate anger or greed or just negativity in your mind, well, your personal reality will inevitably fill up with pain, with conflict. But if you consciously decide to nurture thoughts of love, of wisdom, kindness, then peace, harmony, that becomes your actual lived experience. It's empowering because it reveals this huge, often untapped power that lies within your own mind, not in external conditions.
That really does reframe so much about how we see challenges. And speaking of challenges, anger, that's something nearly everyone wrestles with. How does the Dhammapada approach anger?
It tackles it head on. And with this counterintuitive wisdom, it introduces a core principle of nonviolence, both outward and inward nonviolence, with this verse. Hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is an internal law.
Mm.
Now, this really challenges that common idea, doesn't it? That fighting fire with fire is the way. The deep insight here is that when we meet anger with more anger, we just escalate things. We perpetuate this cycle of suffering that honestly consumes both sides.
Yeah, you see that all the time.
Exactly. Genuine peace, real resolution, it doesn't come from winning a fight. It comes from strategically choosing a path that actually dismantles the conflict rather than just fueling it more. It's about breaking that cycle, the cycle of retribution.
Yeah.
And you do that through deliberately practicing forgiveness and compassion.
That's a tough principle, though, isn't it? For many to truly grasp in a world that often seems to demand confrontation. I mean, how do we apply non-hatred when we genuinely feel wronged or we need to stand up for ourselves?
Yeah, good question. It's definitely not about being passive or just allowing injustice. It's about the response. The Dhammapada encourages us to detach from that impulse to retaliate in kind. You can absolutely assert boundaries, you can defend yourself, but without holding on to the underlying hatred, the peace that non-hatred offers. It's primarily for you. It frees you from being consumed by the very emotion that caused the pain in the first place. It's a liberation, really, not a surrender.
Okay, that's a really crucial distinction. What about the fleeting nature of things? We live in a world obsessed with permanence, right? Owning things, holding on to youth, getting status. Does the Dhammapada speak to that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a central theme, actually. Recurring throughout the text, impermanence. The Pali word is anicca. The Dhammapada just repeatedly reminds us life itself is fleeting. Everything is constantly changing. Our bodies, our stuff, our status. Even our relationships, our very sense of who we are, it's all impermanent. And the text makes it strikingly clear. Clinging to these things, trying to hold on to them like they're fixed or eternal, that is a fundamental source of suffering. It makes you think, right, how much stress we cause ourselves over, say, a lost phone or a job change. Then, a few months down the line, it barely registers.
So true.
The freedom, the text suggests, comes from fully embracing change, living mindfully right here in the present moment, instead of constantly resisting the natural flow of how things are.
So letting go isn't just giving up. It's actually key to finding peace. And what about personal power or, mastering oneself? In our society, which is so achievement-driven, conquering oneself might sound, well, less glamorous than conquering a market or a competitor. What's the hidden strength there? What's the long-term reward the Dhammapada suggests comes from this internal kind of victory?
Right. Well, there's a really potent verse on exactly that. Self-mastery. It goes, "Though one should conquer 1,000 men in battle 1,000 times, yet he who conquers himself is the greatest victor." This teaching just profoundly shifts our whole understanding of what true strength even is. It's not about dominating others or external achievements, racking up accolades. No. The Dhammapada argues that real strength lies in that deep inner work, mastering your own desires, your fears, your impulses, and the long-term reward. It's genuine inner stability. It's resilience when things get turbulent externally. It's a profound sense of freedom from those internal compulsions that drive us. That internal conquest, the Dhammapada says, that is the true mark of a victor. It leads to a kind of freedom and inner stability that no external force can ever touch, let alone take away.
That's incredibly inspiring and a powerful counter-narrative to so much of modern success culture, really. Okay, finally, what about the overarching path, the kind of life the Dhammapada guides us towards?
Yeah, it guides us towards what it calls the path of righteousness, or Dhamma in Pali. The verses, they meticulously describe how to live a life of virtue, but it's far from just an abstract concept. It means actively practicing generosity in our daily lives, and not just with money, right? With our time, our attention, our kindness. It means cultivating mindfulness, being fully present in every action, every thought, and it means extending compassion to all beings, recognizing our shared humanity.
It sounds like a very disciplined path.
It can seem that way, but the Dhammapada suggests that virtue isn't just about rigid rules. It's more like an internal alignment, an alignment that guides you towards spontaneous right action. And that leads to everyday peace and harmony, both within yourself and, in how you interact with the world. It's a way of being that just naturally produces well-being.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does this mean for you, the listener? We've explored these ancient teachings, but is this just some historical text for monks in a monastery somewhere? Or is it actually a powerful guidebook for daily living right now in our busy modern lives?
What's truly compelling, I think, is just how directly applicable these insights are to contemporary challenges. Take mindfulness, for instance, using it to manage the relentless stress, the information overload that's just everywhere today.
Yeah, definitely needed.
Or choosing compassion instead of just escalating anger in our conflicts, whether that's online, stuck in traffic, or right at home. And just imagine Imagine the profound peace that could come from accepting change rather than constantly fighting it, whether that's a career shift or changes in family dynamics or just the natural progression of life, of aging. In a world that's often full of distractions and division and immense pressure, the Dhammapada offers this timeless, really powerful reminder. Genuine happiness is, and actually always has been, an internal state. It's an inside job, as they say. It doesn't really come from external circumstances. It comes from how we cultivate, how we master our own inner world.
Right. So we've absorbed these profound ideas. Now the crucial question becomes, how do we apply them? What are some practical steps, some takeaways that you can use to actually live the Dhammapada's wisdom? Starting today.
Okay, yeah, practical steps. There are clear takeaways, I think, that are easy to integrate into daily life. First, maybe just start by observing your thoughts. Simple observation. Remember what the text says. They truly shape your reality. Just noticing them without judgment, that's the crucial first step to mastering them.
Okay, observe thoughts. Got it.
Second, make a conscious effort. Practice compassion daily, even in small ways, seemingly insignificant ways. A kind word to a stranger, maybe a moment of understanding for someone who's clearly struggling, a patient ear. Small things.
Little acts of compassion.
Right. Third, actively work on letting go of grudges. This is a big one. The Dhammapada teaches that forgiveness heals you more than anyone else. It frees you from that heavy burden of anger, of resentment.
Frees you.
And finally, remember impermanence, Annika. Appreciate the present moment, fully. Instead of constantly chasing things that won't last or lamenting what's already gone. Look, these aren't huge, grand gestures. They're small, consistent shifts. But they can profoundly transform your inner world. And, as the Dhammapada powerfully implies, when your inner world changes, well, so too will your outer world.
Wow. This deep dive into the Dhammapada, it really shows it's far more than just some ancient scripture, doesn't it? It feels like a remarkably practical manual for living with profound peace, incredible clarity, and deep compassion in every moment. If these teachings have resonated with you even just a little bit, I really do encourage you, consider exploring the whole text. There's just so much more depth, so much wisdom there to discover beyond what we could possibly cover today.
Absolutely. And maybe as you go about your day, just consider this thought. Let it mull over. If we truly are what we think, and if real peace actually begins within each one of us, then what kind of world can we collectively create? By cultivating peace inside ourselves, one thought, one action, one moment at a time. This journey, of self-discovery, applying these timeless principles, that isn't just an intellectual thing, it's a lived experience. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep trying to apply these principles in your daily existence.